So this is not the first time that we have fought this battle. But until women mobilize, until men understands that you are talking about your wife, possibly your mother, your child, your daughter, and understand that this has long-term ramifications, and really feel it personally, I think that's the only way that it's going to really hit home.
Linda Coleman Madison, Alabama State Senator. Thank you for your time. Some breaking news just a few moments ago. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin and the IRS Commissioner wrapped up some testimony on Capitol Hill. This is Secretary Mnuchin's, this is his first testimony since refusing to comply with that subpoena for President Trump's tax returns. During the testimony, the Secretary clarified.
Okay, you've heard the state senator there in Alabama voice her opinion about this particular bill that is now soon to become law in the state of Alabama, but probably will be contested in some form or fashion. It's not about women's rights. It's about the law being taken advantage of. It's about one bad apple that turned one bad apple into two bad apples into four bad apples, four bad apples into eight bad apples. And I think you get the equation towards what has happened here. And that's the reason why the state of Alabama is making such a strong case in abolishing all abortions, because they know that it has opened up a opportunity for illegitimate women. And I'm not saying that all women are illegitimate, because I know there's a lot of good women out there that are good, sound, strong, honest, decent women. But it has opened up an opportunity for too many illegitimate women that has basically turned themselves into nothing more than cold-blooded murders. And that is not what the bill was originally passed to do. The bill was originally passed for women to have the right based upon an opportunity that imposed upon to their own will pertaining to rape or incest in this regard. What we're dealing with here is accountability. What we're dealing here is an abuse system. And until we can modify the system, until we can tweak the system, I'm pretty sure, because of the minds of the bad women, and you have to admit there's good women and there's bad women, just like there's good men and there's bad men, this will probably be a struggling scenario that will affect millions upon millions of people's lives all over the country here in America. Once more, we have reached a pinnacle point in civilized society. I repeat, in a civilized society, to the point that now harsh repercussions are coming about in one form or another, in one issue or another. And this is what has occurred when the chief at the command post took his eye off the ball and put the system on autopilot for too long. This is what has occurred to society, towards society basically turning against itself and eating its own. Life is the most precious thing, regardless whether it be intentional or unintentional. Life is the most precious thing that society can offer to itself for a future, of a better future, in the future. And when you take that opportunity of life away from society, sadly, but indirectly, you take away the society. And if that's where we're heading in society, it won't be long on down the road, give or take 30, 40, 50, maybe 100 years from now, society will no longer be the same society that we look upon today as a society. And given its recourse throughout a whole decade, and beyond, could actually escalate into the Homo sapien society not even existing as a society. So what the state of Alabama is doing is a reflection upon the future of our society. And it's not to say that you don't have the right. You know, living out in the countryside, watching a domestic animal walk across my yard, dog, cat, whatever. Me, as a property owner, has a right towards taking out a firearm or even escalating into the fact of manufacturing a trap and capturing that domestic animal, because that domestic animal, if it's truly domesticated, should not be running wild to begin with, right? So that gives me the right, living out in a country setting, to where if anything crosses my yard, black, white, green, or yellow, rather not it be a dog or a cat or somebody else's loving, cuddling, furry animal, towards either capturing it or blasting it away into eternity. We all have the right, but just because you have the right does not make it right. That's the point that the state of Alabama is trying to make. Just because you have the right does not make it right. Especially of the women that has taken advantage of the system to the point that now one bad apple has turned into two. Two bad apples has turned into four. Four bad apples has turned into 8. The law was not written to give women the right to become murderers. And that's what a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them has done. And this is what the state of Alabama is trying to say. This is what the state of Alabama is standing up and saying, enough is enough. Especially if you look at the facts towards all the abortion clinics that has popped up out of the woodwork just within the past 25 or 30 years. My son, Nicholas Jackson, whenever a mistake happened with his mother and I was 17, she was 18. She become impregnated. I knowed without a shadow of a doubt that it was my son. There was no way for me to deny it because we had such a close bond with each other. My father, at the time, that wasn't thinking correctly, approached me and her both and said, I want you to abort the child. Abort the child now. And we asked him why. Why should we abort the child? His reasoning in his mind was there's no guarantees that the child is going to be born normal. And if the child is born abnormal, you just as well take it out here in the field somewhere and knock it in the head, dig a hole, and bury it. And whenever we heard his theology on why he wanted us to abort this child, my first wife and I looked at each other and said, we are not going to abort this child regardless of what its end results is going to be. And it's the same way with marriage. So many people, they want to take the vows for better or worse. But in reality, they don't mean them. Because as soon as they find out that their husband has an incurable disease, or their wife, or something is wrong with them in some degree, or something just didn't work out with their career on their jobs, oh, we want to ditch them. We want to ditch them. We thought we had a good hookup. We thought we had a keeper. But come to find out, it wasn't a keeper. She was a reaper. Or he was a reaper. And because of it, I want a divorce. I want to get out of this thing. There was only one reason and one reason alone for the letter of divorce to be ever created by the attorney of Moses. Moses was basically the first attorney. And that reasoning was over some sexual intercourse, improper behavior between a male and a female. It wasn't based around likes and dislikes. It wasn't based around careers or money or achievements. It was based around sexual immorality. Moses allowed for a letter of divorce. Well, we can see how far that letter of divorce has been taken advantage of, manipulated, and now turned into a free-for-all here in America. It's the same way with the abortion law. The abortion law was not written so that women could become cold-blooded murderers. The state of Alabama is making a very, very powerful statement to the rest of the world that they're tired of it and enough is enough. 2 thumbs up to what the state of Alabama is trying to achieve towards saying enough is enough. Thank you to my viewers, and good luck to all of us. But we have to stay on course to the original godly compass, that guided light that guides us all into understanding what is the difference between right and wrong. What is the difference between godliness and ungodliness. Thanks again. Shalom.